passage of meaningful structural pension and benefit reform has been one of the primary agenda items for both SBAIN and the SBA Small Business Summit. I also served on Speaker Murphy's State Employees Pension Review Commission for 18 months that brought forth many of the recommendations that are in this bill, too. When we were looking at pension reform as our legislative issue, we looked at some basic principles, and I put out an op-ed piece in the spring, and I outlined the following basic principles that I thought should be included in structural pension and benefit reform, and I want to share them with you. Principle one was compensation and benefits offered by state employees should be competitive with those benefits offered in the private sector. The arguments of the past that state employment offered lower compensation but better benefits is not valid any longer. Two, the offer of a state job should not and does not commit the state to a lifetime employment of the employee. Employees throughout their careers will move from multiple jobs and will move from the public sector to the private sector and vice versa. Therefore, state benefits should have some portability similar to what is done in the private sector, that they should be able to take their benefits with them. Three, state employees should have a personal responsibility for some of their retirement benefits similar to those in the private sector. Those that make the decision to personally contribute to their retirements will retire more comfortably than those that choose not to. Four, state pension benefits should be fair to the taxpayers. They need to be affordable and sustainable. Five, taxpayers and state employees should share the investment risks of the changing markets. Under the present defined benefit system, the taxpayers are assuming all of the investment risks. Six, all benefit calculations should be based on a conservative actuarial sound assumptions. When I listened to Mr. Fournier talk about the investment returns and longevity, my comment to the person next to me was, let's live in let's worry about being in reality, and let's live in Never Never Land. And seven, a code of ethics should apply to all state benefit systems. Now, the General Treasurer and the Governor brought forth a proposal for structural pension reform that meets most of my basic principles. Is it perfect? No. Should it be passed? Definitely. Opening the door to changes to this legislation could doom it to the pile of vain attempts that have been your history of trying to do pension reforms. The commission I was part of. This legislation is carefully balanced and weighted to accomplish the goals of structural pension reform. That being said, I would offer one change that will not change the numbers, but may be of help to some of the state employees that want to take personal responsibilities for their retirements. I believe you could add a supplemental defined contribution plan on top of the mandatory defined contribution that would allow state employees that wanted to make additional contributions to their retirements. Many private sector plans have this, and this might satisfy some of the concerns that Mr. Downey had, that if you wanted to make additional contributions, you'd provide them the vehicle to do that. I would suggest you pass this legislation, and I would suggest it doesn't finish your job. The cities and towns have serious problems with their own pension and benefit systems, and they will need legislation to help them addressing them. I would not cloud their issues, which are more complex than the state's issues, in this legislation, but I would urge you to take this up as your first agenda item in the new legislative session. In summary, I recognize that there's a lot of pressure being exerted on all of you from all sides. There are times when an elected official needs to make the courageous vote to do the right thing, even though they may face unfavorable consequences that they have to face from opposition or special interests. Voting for structural pension reform is the right thing to do, and I sincerely hope that the voting public will remember and support that vote at the polls in the future. If they do not, you can still be proud you did the right thing at the right time.
Thank you.